Welcome, everyone, to the main board meeting of the Ohio University Board of Trustees. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Chair Scholl,
Present.
Vice Chair Coleman, Trustee Kashani,
Here.
Trustee Cooper,
Present.
Trustee Evans,
Present.
Trustee Goodman,
Here.
Trustee Shield,
Present.
Trustee Smolin,
Here.
Trustee Viehweger,
Here.
Alumni Representative Christopher,
Here.
National Trustee Pidwell,
Here.
National Trustee Gaynor,
Here.
Student Trustee Kelly,
Present.
Student Trustee McLean.
Here.
Mr. Chair, we have a quorum of voting trustees.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Mr. Secretary. Do we have a motion to approve today's agenda?
So moved.
Second. Second by Trustee Goodman. Yep. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? Passes unanimously. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes from the March meeting? So moved.
Second.
Trustee Evans, second. Trustee Viehweger. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, the motion passes unanimously.
Probably do the May meeting too.
And we have one more meeting to pass some minutes on, and that's our May time together. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes from the May meeting? We'll move it. Trustee Goodman? Second.
Second.
Trustee Smolin? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? Again, passes unanimously. All right, so this is an opportunity for us to introduce a little bit of some of the activities that we've had over the last day and a half, and I would be remiss in not first and foremost saying how grateful we've been to the folks here at Ohio University Eastern, particularly Dean Klein and his staff that have made our time together here very productive and have been very welcomed during our time. We've seen a lot, I think, in such a short period of time. Yesterday at lunch, Dean Klein hosted us and a group of students, many who were student ambassadors, who gave us a tour of the campus this morning as well. We had a chance, I got a lot of positive feedback from fellow trustees about how the interaction with the students was really an exciting opportunity to kind of get to know some of their aspirations, their goals, and how Ohio University Eastern is meeting them. Last evening at dinner, we met with members of Eastern's Governing Council, along with many of their faculty. We had an opportunity to be introduced to a really authentic and genuine family here in this region, the Everett family, whose story tells how important OU and this campus is to this region. Finally, we had a little bit of a sing-along with a chance to hear some original music by former Dean Rich Greenlee. And we also had the opportunity to have a kind of a video graphic portrayal of how beautiful this region is from Jay Morris. We thank all of you for such a wonderful evening last night. I have to say also, the food was really, really good. The view was beautiful out at the country club, and I don't think I found anybody that wanted to take golf clubs onto that golf course today. It looked awfully challenging. Two other comments, I think. One is when we come to a regional campus, it's usually in the June meeting, and I think it's a real opportunity for the trustees to move within the system and really understand what those regional campuses provide for not only the students that attend, the faculty that are instructors, but also the communities that they are within. And I understand, there's no question that one of the big initiatives of the university right now is to try and bring forward a more productive One Ohio concept. And obviously that doesn't just impact on the regional campuses, but also the main campus at Ohio University and all the other centers and institutes that we teach at. But what I did want to do is share, this is my 8th year, so I've probably been on eight opportunities to meet regional campuses. And there's certainly some common themes and some non-common themes. The most common theme I think I've picked up over those years is how the opportunity for students to get such a one-on-one experience with the faculty, and combined with the energy and the instructional capability of the faculty with those students is really, really, it just kind of oozes from the conversations, each one of them, in terms of how impactful and powerful and transformative those are. That's number one. Number two is the differences. I think that the opportunity to come to Eastern and understanding the economic issues, the growth issues, but the shale opportunity. And then more importantly, what we just saw was, we talked a little bit about, and I think we'll hear more about, the nursing opportunity, the healthcare opportunity that's related to this region is something that I think we are extremely attentive to. If you think of how universities can adjust to those economic opportunities, I know in the news there's the comment about a cracker coming. I mean, I know that also in the shale opportunities, the cracker is a kind of a game changer for a region if one gets located here. And so I think that it's safe to say that the university is watching that really carefully with you and trying to figure out where there's opportunity. And one of those elements of it was the discussion about nursing today. And Dean Klein shared with me as we were coming down the steps that there are hospitals that are providing free transportation from 2 hours away to get trained here. That's at least in the offering. So anyhow, I mean, it's a high demand, and I think that we through the leadership here are on top of that opportunity. This new technology, I used to use paper and pencil, but this doesn't work. So again, I'd like to really thank everyone for hosting us, and it's been a real delightful visit. I'd also like to recognize some transitions that are going to happen to our really talented staff and faculty. A long list of really accomplished individuals. Dennis Irwin, our Dean of the College of Engineering, is retiring. Dr. Bill Willen, who's led the regional higher education, is retiring. Marty Tuck, who's been the Dean of our OU Chillicothe, is retiring. Kerry Frith, the interim Dean of the Honors Tutorial College is ending. I have had a chance to work closely with Kerry on her transitions through Cutler Scholars and HTC, and now the exciting news that we saw last night about the honors program, the Ohio Honors Program. She has chatted about that with various people for certainly the last 2 or 3 years, and to see it come to such a vibrant fruition, she should feel very, very proud, as well as all the team players collectively that are around that. So Kerry, thanks so much for your leadership in the Honors Tutorial College. Dr. Shields, Joe is transitioning back to the Vice President of Research, where I first met you. He has been our interim Dean of Arts and Sciences and done an extremely admirable job in that interim position. Thank you so much, Joe. Bob Klein. Bob, the interim Dean of Eastern is ending, but I understand that you are about ready to embark on an ACE Fellowship. And I know the impact those have, because I had a chance with Dr. Webster, knowing that he went to Northern Kentucky to experience an opportunity in leadership from the top down. And we talked last night how impressive that was. Good luck with your time away. And hopefully it meets all your expectations or exceeds them. And then finally, Jim Schaus, our athletic director, is moving to a position. He will be the commissioner of a conference out of Spartansburg, North Carolina, or South Carolina. Where's Spartansburg? South Carolina. I'll go back to my geography class. But anyhow, we thank Jim for his years of service in building an awfully good athletic program, assisting in the delivery of that. Finally, I would like to just call out Mike McTeague. I don't know if he's in the room or not, but this gentleman I met last night at dinner, and he was telling me what institutional memory is all about. He's been here for 55 years, and I got the sense that his passion for this place, he shared with me the secret sauce, and it's pretty fundamentally what you'd expect. You're kind of focusing for how is this place successful, and his comment was, it's just hard work. You've got to go out and recruit students to come to this university. And then it was compounded by a comment today that while Wheeling is only 10 minutes away, it seems like it's a world apart, asking folks from West Virginia to come across the river to come to this school. My question was, well, do we charge any fees, excessive to that? And she said it's marginal. And so I just think Mike's message to us is we've got to continue to work on finding students that will be transformed by this experience. And that was his message to me last night. So, all right, that's my report. Mr. President, would you like to lead us through yours?
Thank you, Chair Scholl and members of the Board of Trustees, appreciate you all very much and appreciate your support as Ohio University continues to move forward on a variety of significant fronts, and I think we continue to make major progress around the strategic pathways and priorities which I identified at my investiture. It doesn't seem possible. I'm starting my third year now. It's exciting to be at Ohio University. Ruthie and I love being at Ohio University and in Athens, and supportive of a very historic and accomplished a national research university. We continue at Ohio University to develop a strategic framework that is really operationalizing our impact on these strategic pathways and priorities. We had a great retreat with the board in May, and as you look at the strategic pathways, they really permeate around four key themes: enhancing the academic quality of the institution, increasing our engagement, and that includes engaging the broader university and alumni community through our number one strategic pathway, which relates to diversity and inclusion, but to really create an engagement ecosystem, elevating our national visibility and advancing sustainability. So as priorities for operationalizing that, we need to recognize that we need to be a digital first university. It really permeates through everything that we do, and I really can't overemphasize that. This is a major time of transition in higher education in the United States, and we need to pivot in new directions, and I think we are doing that at Ohio University, and we're poised to make even greater strides in this area. We need to unite the system under one Ohio University. That integration is really important, structural integration, and we discuss strategies around that every day, and I really appreciate the leadership of Brad Cohen and Nicole Pennington in that context. And yesterday we heard a report as to progress as they lay out more specifics associated with that. We need to realize a new general education at our university. You know, it's been 40 years since we've updated the general education at Ohio University, the requirements associated with that. And working closely with Faculty Senate and our academic affairs curriculum committee within Faculty Senate, we look forward to updating that and making that more contemporary and more futuristic. We need to reimagine the academic enterprise. Again, this is a time of tremendous transition in higher education. We need to realize that new faculty profiles. We need to recognize the faculty of today and the obligations that they have are different from what they were even 5 years ago or 10 years ago or 15 years ago. We need to realize dynamic enrollments, and we heard from Craig Cornell and the provost yesterday, and create learning for life opportunities. Once you become a Bobcat, we want that to be Bobcats for life and have different interfaces with our university and learning opportunities associated with that. And we need to partner with businesses and corporations and public entities to create a new training for online learning, certificates and micro-credentialing. We need to build a new budget model, a budget plus model, and Deb Schaefer is helping to lead that effort, but with a group of deans and others to participate in that dialogue. We need to build a stronger network of alumni, friends, and corporate engagement. And you heard from Casey and from Nico yesterday about the importance of our alumni relationship, but also Ken Johnson has been leading. He's sitting in the back of the room, but our chief medical affairs officer and executive dean of the Heritage College of Medicine, he's been leading this corporate engagement task force, and their final recommendations have now are progressing to me, and we will be restructuring the way in which we engage with corporations. We need to have much closer partnerships with them. We need to elevate our marketing and branding, and I'm excited to have now Robin Oliver with us as our new vice president, and really appreciate her. We need to amplify our research and scholarly activity. We are a major national research university, but we have additional opportunities through cluster hiring and initiatives And I'm really excited about the interfaces across the spectrum, whether it's in the fine arts, whether it's in medicine, whether it's in the sciences, social sciences, et cetera. Each one of those contribute in unique ways to our success. We need to reimagine our space utilization, and you heard yesterday on our capital improvement plan, but the space utilization of tomorrow will look very different from the way we utilize space today. You saw the transition here. It was vivid this morning when we went into what it used to be the bookstore, and it's being converted into a facility to support the nursing program. Bookstores, again, we have a very different dynamic with online opportunities like through Top Hat and related activities. And we need to emphasize and increase the momentum towards sustainability goals and commitments. So these are kind of the framework for what I think will be our strategic initiatives as we move forward, and I'm excited to continue to see these evolve over the next few months and beyond as we look at the 2025 plan to move the institution to ever higher levels of national excellence. So our first pathway, again, becoming a national leader for diversity and inclusion. Since the last time we met, we hosted Anita Hill. Many of you know her name. She spoke on the impact of social movements on sexual harassment as part of our Kennedy Lecture Series. We also had an opportunity for a small dialogue discussion over at Mamad, and it was really a dynamic opportunity to interact with her at a very timely time as we look at the Me Too movement. We received we're one of only 2 universities in Ohio to be selected as part of this initiative to be a first forward designation institution because of the programs, whether it's on student affairs side or on our academic side, supporting first generation student success. And so we're proud of our efforts in that context. You know, in Athens, we have about 25 to 30% of our freshmen that are first generation. On a campus like this, it's more like 60 to 70% of those students being first generation. So it's important to recognize that. We continue to enhance our overall academic quality of the institution. And of course, Alden Library has been a cornerstone of that. We celebrated the 50th birthday of Alden Library here recently. But Alden, if you look at the way we utilize space in Alden, how that's transitioned as we look at the University of the Future. The CoLab, for example, is now part of Alden Library. The students, we have record use of Alden Library, but it's not that those students are going in there and going to the stacks and looking for books. They're using it as new study areas and engagement areas as they learn of new types of experiences. We, in our academic quality, we continue to promote our national success with scholarship. Fulbright Awards, we had 6 just recently named. We had 11 applicants, 6 that won Fulbrights. That ratio of success is phenomenal. And I would guess as one of the nation's leaders as far as that success relative to number of students that applied. We had 2 Goldwater Scholars. These Goldwaters are the top science awards given in the United States. So when you look at Rhodes, Truman's, Goldwaters, Marshalls, Udall's, those are kind of the premier scholarships. We had 2 Goldwater Scholars for the first time in something like 10 or 11 years. Very, very proud of that. We continue to reimagine our academic enterprise, and you approved some of those types of programming yesterday with the academic committee. But our theater performance, for example, is looking at musical theater, for example, as a new curricula. And we had record numbers of applicants for that program through our Fine Arts College. Very, very proud of that. We, for the first time in basically 60 years, have a new green. And those of you that were part of the foundation and alumni board meetings had the opportunity to participate in the groundbreaking, quote unquote, ceremony. We didn't really break ground per se, physically, but we recognized the start of this new West Union Street green. And we're very excited about the new HCOM building and the leadership of, again, Dean Johnson. This will be the first building completed with the building standards. This is around the wellness theme within the building design. And so things like fine arts, the type of art display, the type of of furniture used, the type of setting, the aesthetics, all around wellness theme. This will be the first in the United States to complete that well building standard composite, and we're really excited about that. We want to continue to build a university engagement ecosystem. Our Innovation Center continues to be recognized as a national leader. I was just up at Penn State earlier this week where we celebrated our engagement activities and innovation, but we were recognized internationally for being the top rural incubation center, again, in North America. We're really, really proud of that, and internationally as well. The impact of that is tremendous. Just the Innovation Center, $2.9 million as far as employee compensation alone. But you look at our university, the economic impact of that, $2.9 billion a year, the economic impact of Ohio University in the state of Ohio. Tremendous economic driver. Dublin creates a framework for even further expansion, and I mentioned yesterday to board members about the additional land that we have there, and we continue to partner in exciting ways with the city of Dublin. We continue to be a leader in our region and across our state and nation in the trying to address the opioid epidemic. And again, at Penn State, I was a moderator with the Deputy White House Director for Rural Affairs and Drug Policy, Ann Hazlitt. But there's a recognition that Ohio University is leading the way in trying to solve some of these critical issues, and people like Dean Leidy and Dean Johnson are helping to participate in multi-state, multi-dimensional efforts to address this critical issue. And that includes our Patton College of Education as well, and their commitment to working with young people, because often it's at these families that are totally disrupted when their parents are drug addicts and they have no hope for the future. And through our Patton College, we're reaching into secondary schools and providing mentoring and support for these families in crucial ways. Our Patton College is also leading the way in helping schools like our local school, Alexander Local Schools, in providing students, teaching candidates, and graduate assistants to assist in additional training and support mechanisms, and in support of our veterans as well. You know, we continue to be recognized as one of the most veteran-friendly campuses in the United States, and our Patton College is helping us to gain that designation through the support that they have received. We want to be a campus that recognizes, again, diversity and inclusion in new ways, and parents who who are breastfeeding their infants can now use new lactation space in the Convocation Center as an example in support of their basic needs. So greater sensitivity to the breadth and diversity of our campus needs. We want to continue to encourage dialogue around crucial issues that are facing our country and the world. We launched our new Challenging Dialogues lecture series this year, and we had our second speaker in April, Al Letson, who spoke on when we talk, when we walk, and how to always stand to your truth. And it was a very dynamic lecture that was not only live lecture, but we also broadcasted so people could log in and observe and interact in the context of this important topic. Our research and creative activity and national visibility continues to be extended. And sometimes we forget about the fine arts, but we just had recently, within the last few days, one of our students honorable mention for contemporary sculpture, and really excited about that. But tremendous advancement there. People like Dr. Nancy Stevens is developing new discoveries. This is a new species of animal, discovery of a large cat-like feature. You can see the scale on the lower right-hand corner as to the size of, I was joking with our alumni and foundation board members that this is the new bobcat, right? It's so vicious looking, but Nancy Stevens discovered this in her work in Africa, documenting on the cutting edge. And in fact, Nancy Stevens is now part of the permanent collection reference to her work in the Smithsonian, and that was just recently announced within the last month. So we're very excited about her leadership. We had the expo, the student expo, where we had 850 presenters, students, undergraduates, and graduates in the convo. It was so dynamic, so exciting, from the fine arts to the sciences to engineering, medicine, health sciences, etc. And to see the students' expressions was very, very powerful, as well as they received special recognition. Our graduate students continue to be supported for innovative work as well through our graduate college and research offices. The museum complex, if you haven't been up on the ridges to the Kennedy Museum, you need to go up onto the second floor to our new Ohio Museum complex. This is an integration. This isn't like going in and seeing fine art, which is great, but this integrates fine art with the sciences. And it's really fascinating, the connections. It's extraordinary. It's really cutting edge. It's cultivating something that is unique in our nation, and it's happening at Ohio University on the ridges, and we're excited about that. So we want to be able to tell our story with energy and enthusiasm, and because of the uniqueness and success of our university. And we continue to hire outstanding people as we transition our university. And I'm proud to have Robin Oliver as our new Vice President for University Communications and Marketing. I introduced her yesterday. We have a new Dean of Libraries coming in this fall, Neil Romanowski. We have a new Dean of the College of Arts and Sciences, Dr. Florence Plosman, coming from Binghamton University. Our new Interim Executive Dean for Regional Higher Education, Nicole Pennington. Our Dean of the Heritage College of Osteopathic Medicine for the Athens campus, Beth Longenecker, is here today in the back. Beth, welcome. Our new Dean of the Russ College of Engineering and Technology will be starting soon, Dr. May Way from UConn. I introduced our new Dean of the Honors Tutorial College, Dr. Donald Skinner. He's here again today. We appreciate him. Our Director of the Ohio University Press, Stephanie Williams, will be joining us soon. And we also have Amy Dean, our Interim Director of Athletics. And again, I want to thank Dr. Irwin, Dr. Bill Willand. I also want to thank John Biancamano for his counsel for the last 11 years, wherever John is. Appreciate him and all that he's contributed in an outstanding way. Marty Tuck, Kerry Frith, Joe Shields, Bob Klein, and Jim Schaus. Again, the chair of our board has gone into some detail about them, but I just truly thank them for what the stage that they've set, the progress that we've made through their leadership as well. Our alumni relations is another important pathway for us, and we continue to get out on the road. Nico mentioned the number of engagements I've had working with him and others, but places like Pittsburgh, Evanston, Illinois, Washington, D.C., Cincinnati, La Jolla, San Diego. We have a lot of dynamic engagement with our alumni, and we appreciate that. Nico mentioned also yesterday the inaugural Giving Day, which was a tremendous success, and appreciate his leadership and his team for that success. And our alumni chapters are being engaged in new ways. The first ever Beautification Day across the United States from our alumni chapters. 13 of our alumni chapters stepped up to showcase the Bobcat spirit in their communities in offering a helping hand during this first ever Giving Day. Those of you that had the opportunity to participate in commencement, it was a really special year. The graduate ceremony, we had over 800 students receive master's and doctoral degrees. Michael Sweeney was our speaker, did an amazing job and very emotional job. We had our undergraduate ceremony where we had close to 4,000 students receive degrees. The convo was packed for both of those ceremonies. I mean packed to the top for those of you that were there. Amal Afuni gave the students remarks. We had Alex Sheen, who's an alum, give the keynote address. We also had recognition for those honorary degree recipients that the board approved last year. So Robert Krishner was here to give comments and participate on campus. 2 of his students have won Nobel Prize. The Nobel Prize, he was a 16-year-old on Ohio University's campus when he first had was impacted by Ohio University. And Vinky Ramakrishnan, our first and only Nobel Prize winner, was back on campus, and we're really proud of him. And we named our newest University Distinguished Professor, Steve Evans, from psychology. For the Heritage College of Medicine, we had a record number. It was a 228 new doctors, and we are very, very proud of that. And Dr. Tom Mihalovich, who's the CEO president of the Cleveland Clinic, was our commencement speaker and did an amazing job as well. And so it was exciting. Bobcat Athletics continue to make me proud. Our women, they're the first men or women's team to win 30 games in one season. And they went to the Elite Eight of the NIT, and they went into the fourth quarter against Northwestern, leading by 4 points, but unfortunately came up just a little short. But I was really proud of that team as well. And now I'd like to call up Bob Klein and some of his colleagues to give a brief presidential spotlight about connecting with the community and the role of our Ohio Eastern campus in that context. But again, I think you can see that I'm very passionate and excited about the future of Ohio University and appreciate your support. But Bob, I'll turn it over to you.
So thank you, and thanks again to the board for being here on the Eastern Campus. We're really appreciative for your presence here and for your comments. And last night I highlighted place in my remarks and the way that we need to honor connections with the community as a way to grow. And what I'd like to share with you this morning as part of the Presidential Spotlight is a story of bringing people together across the university and across the community to help students and employers connect with each other. This is a story of leveraging the new career fee that we were allowed by the state to charge students, and what we did with that on the regional campuses. And you're going to hear about that and hear from Jamie Clark, who's our career coach for the Eastern Campus. This is a story about using Handshake, the platform that's intended to connect employers and students together, and how we are using that with this event to build a bridge, not only for students to reach out to employers, but recognizing that we had to bring employers and local community partners into that conversation as well, and build that bridge from the other side back to our students and get them on the Handshake system. This, I think, is a story that you're going to see as evidence of the engagement ecosystem at work. It's a story of One Ohio as we engaged the Voinovich Center and SBDC and the Career and Leadership Development Center, as well as Regional Higher Education and other partners at Ohio University. It's a story of Ohio for Ohio, I believe, and how it's an example of how important place is to our mission. So I've asked each one of these people to please introduce themselves and to give a brief description of what happened at this event on May 15th and its importance, starting with Jamie.
Okay. Well, good morning, everybody. My name is Jamie Clark. I am the career coach for Ohio University Eastern and Zanesville campuses, so I'm very excited to be here. On May 15th, Ohio University Eastern, SBDC of Belmont, Guernsey, and Muskingum County, and the CIC of Belmont County hosted our luncheon that we had, Recruit at Ohio. The constituents that were invited at that time were the area chambers of commerce, community agencies, area school districts, health, public service, business, industry, and again, the SBDC and the CIC constituents. So many thanks go out to many people who put this together. This gave us an opportunity to promote the Eastern initiatives, Handshake, and Zach will be talking about Handshake just a bit, and then the strong partnerships that we have and we continue to build. Real world experiences where we had an intern who is a very successful alumni now, and connecting employers with Ohio's talent. So with those that were invited, we were very well represented in all sectors. We will continue this fall to follow up with the employers that we've connected with, and I hope to have several activities and events on the Eastern and the Zanesville campuses to have more involvement with our students. Thank you.
And Zach McGrain from the CLDC.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you everyone for having us today. I was lucky to be a part of this event. Again, I'm Zach McGrain. I'm the Associate Director for Career Development Integration for the Career and Leadership Development Center on the Athens campus. And my role in the event was to demonstrate Handshake for our employers and the partners that were there on that day. A part of that, we really wanted to demonstrate what Handshake does for our students, because ultimately our local partners and employers, those are the individuals they want to come and recruit. So we demonstrated what a quality account looks like in Handshake. And Handshake is our online career management system where all of our students at Ohio University have access to and have an account. They just have to activate it, and that's a part of what we work on. But also on the other side is for our employers to actively recruit our students when they're not always able to attend or be on Eastern campus or Athens campus or a part of our institutional framework from a distance. So a part of that, we demonstrated the importance of how to navigate the system and showcase their experiences for our students, whether it's full-time jobs, internships, co-ops, volunteer shadowing, and the system really is conducive to all of those opportunities. Currently in the system, within 30 miles of where we're sitting today, we have almost 200 opportunities available for our students. That is available to all Ohio University students, but obviously within our Eastern region here in St. Clairsville, and over 100 employers that find home within 30 miles of where we're sitting today. So with that One Ohio model, we want to continue to grow those numbers, to continue to grow those opportunities for our students, not only here within St. Clairsville and the Eastern region, but obviously for our entire student population here at Ohio University. So yeah, thank you again for having us.
Thanks, Zach. And our very own Dr. Sarah Mahan Hayes.
Good morning. As I presented at the Handshake event, I noted that I spent my entire childhood here in St. Clairsville. But I did go away to school, and I was the proverbial lost ball in tall weeds. And so what I really talked about was the impact that one professor had on my life, because I sheepishly remember going to talk to her about graduate school. And she was incredibly helpful and really put me on my path, which ultimately landed me back here. But sadly, I think for so many of our students, especially in this area, the goal is to leave. And I'm not sure that it's always because they want to, but because they feel like they have to, because they sense there's not opportunity available. And so I noted that a lot of times students will come to office hours or send emails, and they often start with, "I'm sorry to bother you," or "I know you're very busy," or something like that, that says to me somehow they're thinking that they are a bother. And so one of the things that I was talking about, that how easy it is to forget what being a student feels like once you're out of that realm. And so anything that any of us can do in terms of reaching across that desk through internships, through job shadowing, through just, I'll come have a conversation with you about my profession, I think has a tremendous impact on students, and we often forget what that can do. And so in hopes that, you know, with the bright students that we're going to graduate, that they will remain here, and that's really the best thing for all of us. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
And Cindy Voorhees from the Small Business Development Center.
Good morning. Good morning. I've been with the SBDC program now for nearly 20 years, and I've partnered with OU Eastern in having office space to meet with our local small business community for as long as I can remember. I've worked with many of the students here with their class projects and their business plans, their projections. I've also worked with a lot of the faculty in presenting entrepreneurship classes. We have office space here that myself and another counselor utilizes. And when our small businesses come in to meet with us and talk to us about whatever their situations are, they're always fascinated, impressed, with the fact that the university supports the small businesses and allows us to have space here to meet with them. So that always makes me feel good. I always feel like utilizing the space that we have for office, the classrooms that we can use, the labs that we can use is a benefit to our local small business community. When I attended the handshake, it was a connection of the resources that I have in the small business world to introduce them to students that are looking for employment and to share with them how we can assist and grow their business and hire local. You know, that we have a wide variety of talent locally here right in their backyard. And so for my services, what we can go do is work with them and make those connections. And Jamie and I are starting to work with several projects now to move those ideas forward in both counties.
Thank you. And Crystal Lorimer.
I'm the Executive Director of the Community Improvement Corporation here in Belmont County, or CIC for short. The CIC is the nonprofit arm of economic development here. The Eastern Campus and Athens campus of Ohio University are vital to our work in Belmont County. We partner with the Eastern Campus for interns for our office, as well as helping other businesses tap into student practicums, internships, and real-world group projects. We partner with the SBDC, Tech Growth, the Procurement Technical Assistance Center, or PTAC, and other resources from Ohio University. We recently purchased a new location for our office, which also allows us to offer office space to these and other partners from the region as they come to Belmont County to meet with clients, offer workshops, and so forth. I've invited the SBDC, PTAC, and Tech Growth into businesses for assistance. They are a vital part of the CIC's business retention and expansion visits. Likewise, we partner to offer monthly workshops to entrepreneurs and existing businesses. Without Ohio University, we could not do what we do to diversify the economy here in Belmont County.
So hopefully the board sees that this is the way that we are having an impact in the region. We're crossing boundaries. We're breaking out of the four walls of the classroom and inviting partnerships with those. I want to add that Crystal told me this morning she received a grant in partnership with AceNet in Athens. So it's also business to business within Athens. So we view this really as a true example of the engagement ecosystem, and I thank you.
Excellent. Yeah, thank you all so much. This is a great case study of the sort of work that we need to continue to build on, not only here, but across our whole umbrella of Ohio University. But we really appreciate the way in which you worked collectively together and the progress that you continue to make.
Thank you. And now is the sing-along portion.
Sorry, you had me until right at that point. I know Rich is in the back; they're ready to lead us, but
Although the lyrics were in our head through the night.
but thank you all so much for what you do, and really appreciate your work together. And a great spotlight. So thank you very much. And again, yeah, thank you. And board members, that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. All right, we'll move into the portion of the meeting focused on committee highlights and resolutions from each of those committees. Let's start with Trustee Cooper, who chaired our academics. Would you please give the Academics and Student Success Committee report?
Yes, thank you very much. Yesterday, the Academics and Student Success Committee received 3 reports. The first one was from the Russ College of Engineering, the dashboard report. And it appears from that report pretty clearly that Dean Irwin is leaving behind creation of a really first-class academic institution. The report demonstrated pretty clearly that the retention and graduation rates are above the norms. That there are many internships and employment opportunities awaiting the graduates of the engineering college, that there is a good deal of extraordinary first-class teaching made available to the students who are apparently learning quite well, and he's leaving behind something quite special. The second report was the status of the One Ohio for regional higher education activities and the achievements. The progression of the One Ohio is well underway, and we look forward to hearing further success stories in the future. The third report was on the newly created Ohio Honors Program, and it appears that we now have, we'll have this fall over 350 new students beginning the honors program. In addition to the other existing honors programs, Honors Tutorial College, Cutler Scholars, and so forth, this is a new program that's creating many opportunities for a greater number of students, and is going to enhance the learning opportunities in Athens. We also entertained 17 items on the consent agenda. I'm not going to go through all 17 of them, but I did want to mention 2 honorary degrees that were conferred upon Dr. Francis A. Pape and Dr. Richard A. Vincent. The others are identified and described in tabs 3, 4, 7 through 9, and 12, 24, and they will appear fully in the minutes of the organization, and the committee recommends all of the consent agenda items for full approval by this board. Lastly, the committee approved a resolution recommending to this board that it review and approve changes to the student code of conduct. And I would, at this time, in order to bring the matter to the floor of the board, would move the approval of the student code of conduct changes that are being recommended.
Thank you.
Is there a second?
Is there a second? Second. Second from Trustee Evans.
Now I'd like to call for discussion on this motion.
Chairman. General Counsel Biancamato, would you join us, please? Yes. Thanks.
I wanted to say that it is my understanding that these recommendations that were brought forth by the Review and Standards Committee, which is a committee that reviews the student code of conduct biannually. It comprises members of the faculty, members of the staff, professional members from the community, and the recommendations that are made to the code of conduct stem from judicial decisions made by the United States Court of Appeals for the Sixth Circuit, which is the Court of Appeals for Michigan, Ohio, Kentucky, and Tennessee. And they made decisions not involving Ohio University but other institutions, holding that the Constitution requires the right of confrontation and for the respondent in these proceedings to both confront and ask questions of the complaining party. So the recommendations that the Standards and Review Committee were put in place, the recommendations are brought here for changes in order to comply with the decision of the United States Court of Appeals. You may recall that I asked a question yesterday, did the committee consider and make any recommendation or reject a recommendation to change the burden of proof? And they indicated no, that was not something that they considered at that time. So having said that, I guess I would like to open it up for further discussion and questions.
Thank you, Chair Cooper. I think you described yesterday very, very well. And we have John Biancamato and Barb Nalazak from the General Counsel's office to address any kinds of questions or comments. Trustee Goodman.
I'd like the opportunity to, I'm going to abstain and request the opportunity from the chair to explain my position.
Absolutely.
I think Chairman Cooper of the committee accurately described what the Sixth Circuit did. Before them was a due process question, and one of the issues, the primary issue, was the question of the ability of a respondent or complainant during the course of a hearing on misconduct within the bounds of an institution's jurisdiction. And he is correct that what they mandated was the opportunity for either party to cross-examine one another during the process. And as we heard yesterday from the representative of the administration, that language is included in the body of the student conduct materials that are before us today. And as Mr. Biancamano responded a moment ago, the issue of burden of proof was not a part of the Sixth Circuit's opinion. And my comments today, as they were yesterday, are directed to what should be the burden of proof in a sexual misconduct case. It's the only thing I'm addressing. I'm not addressing plagiarism. I'm not addressing anything else. What should the burden of proof be in a sexual misconduct case? Now, after the Sixth Circuit issued its opinion, believe it or not, the Wall Street Journal, on September the 14th of 2018, had a lead editorial styled "Due Process for Sexual Assault Cases." And I just want to read the first sentence. Quote, "Universities now play cop, prosecutor, judge, and jury in campus sexual assault cases, often without allowing due process rights to the accused." My position yesterday, as it is today, that in sexual misconduct cases, the burden of proof should not be beyond predominance of the evidence, which is within the student conduct materials which we have, but should be clear and convincing evidence. This is not something that I dreamed up in a dream. As I said yesterday, the following institutions of higher learning have this incorporated in their due process: Cornell, Harvard, Princeton, Stanford, the University of Virginia, and Yale. Not only that, I am told and read that the American Association of University Professors in 2016 called for universities to be able to return to using the clear and convincing standard that many had used previously. In 2017, the American College of Trial Lawyers similarly called for that standard of proof in Title IX cases. And my issue is, in my opinion, and apparently in the opinion of some other well-known institutions, the predominance of the evidence standard requires schools, like Ohio University, to make life-altering decisions with great doubts. That is, as Mr. Biancamano and the lawyers around this table or in the audience knows, predominance of the evidence would just be something proof beyond maybe 50%. My position is that when we have sexual misconduct, where the respondent stands charged with what could be and is a crime, a felony in the criminal courts, whereas we all know the standard is beyond a reasonable doubt, where in the state of Ohio we do not have an ability to keep any statements made by the respondent during the course of the university hearing process private and not able to be used in the criminal case. At that point, I suggest to this board and to the administration that the appropriate burden of proof in sexual misconduct cases is clear and convincing. Now, yesterday, after the committee, Mr. Cooper's committee met, our two friends, looking at me here, said to me, they believe that there is a, I think you used the word guidance, not a statute, a guidance from the Department of Education at the federal level, which would make the burden of proof, not just for sexual misconduct, but across the board in other disciplinary cases. I have not seen that. I certainly don't doubt their opinions or what they're telling me. But until I see that, I am not prepared to change my opinion. I would not likewise be for a standard of clear and convincing for plagiarism or something of that nature. But I need to see for my own vote that what they're telling me is mandated by the U.S. Department of Education. I don't know that to be true. I don't disbelieve them. But at that point, Mr. Chairman, is the reason why I cannot vote today for the code that's before us, which has, in my opinion, an inappropriate burden of proof in sexual misconduct cases. Thank you for the opportunity to explain my vote.
May I respond, Mr. Chairman? I would just like to-
Absolutely, Trustee Cooper.
I'm sorry?
Absolutely respond.
Oh, good, thanks. First of all, I want to say Trustee Goodman makes a very accurate description of the issue, and I have a great deal of respect for his opinion. I'm not going to tell you what my opinion is because I don't think it matters here today, but the issue that he describes I don't think is before us, and my response generally is if our code of conduct has had the same burden of proof for many, many years now and has not been raised. I think one option here is to recommend that the Review and Standards Committee take that under consideration and follow its standard process for review of that. Could be requested by the president or the chair, I suppose, and that may be an order of business that we could follow and consider these amendments, which are intended to comply with an existing judicial decision that says we have to do it, and then move forward under that basis would be a suggestion.
And by the way, Mr. Chairman, as I explained to the chair, I'm only voting to abstain. I advised the chair I would not move at this time to amend the resolution.
Right. John, would you like to opine on the question that Trustee Goodman asked about?
Yes, well, we'll keep this
Items.
brief. Just for the record, I would like to say that the Office of Legal Affairs, and in particular Barb Nalizek, has been following the law in this area very closely for a number, well, as long as you've been here, and have been working closely with Jason Pena and the team in Student Affairs. I think we can say with a high degree of confidence that our student code of conduct is in full compliance with all legal requirements. And I also want to say that just observing how our committees and how the Office of Community Affairs looks at these cases as well as all student discipline cases, I am very comfortable that they are approaching this with a high degree of fairness for all sides. I think the system has been working very well. As Trustee Cooper pointed out, there is no proposal in this current amendment to the Code of Student Conduct to change the burden of proof. It always has been preponderance, and certainly we're recommending that it continue until such time as we get further guidance from Washington. Now, it is conceivable that that could happen, and Barb can explain that in a minute. If we get the word from Washington that we need to change, we will, of course, do so. but that's where we are. Barb, could you just take a minute or two to expand a little bit on the burden of proof, how we arrived at that, and how it works?
Sure, thank you very much. Just to provide a little bit of context and not to give you a history lesson, but in 2011, the Obama administration issued guidance that required all universities use the preponderance of evidence for their sexual misconduct adjudications. At Ohio University, we were already using that standard, so it was not a change for us in any way. Fast forward to 2017, the Trump administration issued guidance that said, we're revoking the 2011 guidance, and our guidance to you right now is whatever burden of proof you use for your adjudications generally at the university is what we expect you to use. So preponderance is okay, clear and convincing is okay, we just need you to be consistent. And so again, at Ohio University, preponderance of the evidence, it has long been our standard and now continues to be our standard for the time being. As far as we know, all of the public institutions in Ohio are also using preponderance of the evidence. Couple other things to note is for federal civil litigation, the burden of proof, the standard of evidence in Title VI, Title VII, and Title IX cases is preponderance of the evidence. To carry on what John said, we do have new regulations coming from the Department of Ed. They've issued the proposed rules. We have a working group that actually meets twice a week to talk about the developments in the law all the way down to how we're applying these to individual cases. We've read the proposed regulations. We helped formulate the university's comments on the regulations, and we stand ready to read the final regulations as soon as they come out and determine how we are in compliance as an institution. And certainly the standard of proof will have a very close eye on, as well as many other developments.
I have a question.
Can I ask Trustee Viehweger, then Trustee Kashani?
So the schools that Victor mentioned who already have clear and convincing, they've had it for a very long time?
I can't speak to all of them. I do know that at Cornell University, they had a long history of using clear and convincing. And when the 2011 guidance came out, they actually created a separate process about sexual misconduct so that they would not have to use preponderance of the evidence in their normal student code of conduct violations. So for those institutions, they had that history, whereas our history is preponderance of the evidence.
Thank you.
I think that goes right into my question is, why is it that we couldn't look at the possibility of doing clear and convincing for sexual misconduct and preponderance for everything else? Why is there a requirement as not being an attorney?
Sure. And so again, as it stands right now, the 2017 guidance asks us to be consistent. So it says if you're using preponderance of the evidence for your other adjudications on campus, they ask that you use that for your sexual misconduct proceedings. And same thing, like for instance, Cornell, where they use clear and convincing for student conduct generally, they would change back to clear and convincing. So we are following that 2017 guidance, and again, keeping a very close eye on the regs that are about to come out.
But that does not answer the trustee's question, or Trustee Verwicker. The question that they asked, in which I pursued with you after the meeting, in which I enunciated this morning, my proposal addresses sexual misconduct. Now, what I heard yesterday from both of you was that there was some guidance from DOE that said we could not bifurcate. Now, if that's true, and I have not seen it, then that is not something that Cornell or anybody else knows about. So, all I'm saying, and the reason, for a number of reasons, because I can tell the trustees, my colleagues are not comfortable with this yet, I did not ask to amend the resolution to delete and insert clear and convincing. That's for a later day. I want to see, I can do my own research, but I want to see the guidance which says that you cannot bifurcate between general discipline and sexual misconduct.
And we can certainly share that with you, when we're back in the office.
Thank you.
So it sounds to me that this, first of all, this is, I think, what makes the governance of and this board really a strong board and a strong administration and a strong institution, as we have these healthy dialogues around key discussion points. My sense of what I think I'm hearing is that the conversation that we've had to date allows us to move the resolution forward and attain a vote on that with the distinct possibility there'll be an abstention and warranted based obviously on the views expressed. But I also, so my question then is that if we do this, how best to process the fundamental other element of this conversation, which is the monitoring and or discussion around the other topic. Trustee Goodman, is that a fair characterization of where we are?
Yes, thank you.
Excellent. So, John?
Chair Scholl, we will share with the board the most recent guidance from the Department of Education stating that we have to have a consistent standard in all of our hearings. Beyond that, of course, we will be working with Student Affairs, the President, on this, and can keep you all informed as time passes.
Right, right.
What, can,
Trustee Kashani?
again, not being an attorney, but what's a guideline versus a statute or a law, or why is it that are there federal dollars at risk by not following a guideline?
So before you answer that, I wanted to clarify something that I misunderstood yesterday, and maybe I promulgated confusion. I was under the impression during the presentation that maybe there was a linkage, not just of being out of compliance and not following the law, but I thought there was an access to federal dollars that we suffered kind of quickly if we were out of compliance, and maybe that's the case, but and Trustee Kashani just brought that up. I mean, that's an important element if we're not right about that.
This is one of those wonderful ambiguous situations in the law. In the early years of the Obama administration, you will remember they put out what they called their Dear Colleague letter that set forth standards for the adjudication of sexual misconduct cases. That created a number of ripples in all institutions, that Dear Colleague letter supported the preponderance of the evidence standard. Is it fair to say this is another Dear Colleague letter, or is that what they called it?
Yeah, correct. I mean, this has been controversial
Sure.
In terms of notice of, proposed rulemaking. And there's been a lot of criticism of how those Dear Colleague letters were promulgated. And that's why the new administration has issued proposed regulations that are going through the process, and we're expecting those.
Now, the proposed regulations, do we know what they say about the burden of proof as in their current draft?
I am embarrassed to admit, after having read them, I can't remember right now. I'm going to look to my colleague, Carrie Griffin. Do you recall?
Yeah, they say that you can choose as an institution what your standard of evidence is. However, it has to be consistent, not only across all student discipline, but employee discipline as well.
Yeah, that's right.
So what we have here is basically a Dear Colleague letter charting out a direction they want to go. We have draft proposed regulations that are moving through the federal pipeline. Now, the question is, does that have a direct impact on federal funding? The regulations will. A Dear Colleague letter, the impact of that is not entirely clear, but I don't think anybody wants to walk the path of testing that issue. So we think the most prudent approach here is to stay with the standard that we're currently using and see what the final regs say. Now, at that time, as Carrie mentioned, the final regs would give us the option of going clear and convincing or preponderance. When we get the final regs, the administration with the president will have the opportunity to make a policy decision where you want to go, with the understanding that it's all or nothing. If you're going to go up to clear and convincing for sexual misconduct, you're going to have to do the same for other types of student misconduct as well as employee adjudications. Is that,
Yes, that is accurate.
Okay.
Okay, so let me summarize. Yeah, Trustee Shield.
Just a couple questions. Would going to the more extreme burden of proof deter students from coming forward to make a complaint? And secondly, if the outcome of that preponderance situation, would that not allow students to take it to the police department or any conversation they would have with each other, you know, the accused or the potential victim, would that information be public? Would that information be not allowed to be used, or how would that work if you, I don't know if you know the answer to those.
Okay, so let me, so I think one of your questions is, can students go to use the university process and the criminal process? And yes, the answer is yes, they absolutely can. They can use them in one order, you know, first, or they can use them at the same time. And so nothing precludes that. Trustee Goodman is correct that information a student provides in the university process can be used in the criminal case. One of the things I think is worth noting is we do not require students to speak in the university process, so respondents have chosen not to speak in the university process so as not to create any records that would be used in the criminal process. The other is the question of chilling effect, and of course it's never entirely possible to know exactly. There's certainly those who do believe that if the standard were clear and convincing, that fewer complainants would come forward.
Okay. Trustee Goodman.
And I hear you on the chilling effect. And it's important that people feel that they should report and get a fair hearing. But sometimes we ought to think about the respondent. One of the most egregious cases was Duke University. They all got suspended. The newspapers tarred and feathered them. And what happened? About 3 years later, they were found not to have violated the act, what was accused. Their lives are ruined, effectively. And that's just one example. We all read about other examples. And it's just not things that happen within the hearing procedures of a university. Charges that are out there get played up in the newspaper, especially when they're egregious. And when, years later, found not to be correct, they appear somewhere in the back of the newspaper. So I understand about the chilling effect, but I also understand about students who were thrown out of school and then wait, hopefully, if they are innocent, till the effective burden of proof is not made in the criminal court, and then they apply to a graduate school or another university. And we all know what the question is. The worst question that always bothers me is, it happens when we go to law school, have you ever been arrested? Well, that's an improper question. And that question is, have you been arrested? It's, have you been convicted? Graduate school. Have you ever been thrown out of a university, whatever the words are? Answer, yes. What happens to that application? Now, you may be able to say yes, footnote, etc. So I understand about what Trustee Shield was saying, but I also think our trustees have to keep in mind the repercussions on a respondent that is dismissed from this university.
Thank you, Trustee Goodman. Trustee McLean.
Yeah, just had one more comment, that as we just my thought is, as we continue to talk about this at the board level, students need to be involved inside the conversation. This can't be a choice we make today, because either way it's going to change lives in a really monumental way. So we need to do this inside the spirit of shared governments that we've had inside other issues.
Thank you very much. I'll summarize that this conversation probably will advance in future meetings, if not the next meeting. It'll come out in perhaps a bit more organized fashion, but it is a bit of what society right now is challenged with. And it's probably, as you've heard, the constellation of conversation items, it's a societal issue. And but we're, as governors and fiduciaries, trying to make an informed decision when we get to that. Getting back now to the logistics of the resolution that's before us, and from where I understand we've kind of come to, we had a motion by the chair for this resolution. We had a second by trustee Evans. We've had a very robust amount of conversation, and I think out of it came the focus in the future will be this other piece of this. But as I understand it, my vote would be, personal vote, would be based on the fact that we need to make a formal change because of the action of the court. And that piece of it is in the resolution, and we will tackle that second issue in a separate conversation, equally or more robust than today. Is that the pleasure of the board, if I characterize that acceptably? Okay, so with that, we'll now put to a vote the resolution in tab 10. All in favor of the resolution? Aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Any abstentions?
I abstain.
Okay, the motion passes. Thank you, one and all, for this excellent conversation.
And I appreciate the opportunity the chair gave me and the indulgence of the other trustees. Thank you.
Victor, as often we learn so much from these conversations that I think our thanks to you and grateful for you bringing up the topic for us all to understand better. All right, moving back to academics, Chair Cooper. I think there's another resolution. Maybe? Maybe not? Is that it? That was it? Oh,
My
good.
report is complete.
Okay, well, you've earned your money today. Thank you, Chair Cooper. All right, now we'll move to resources. Trustee Viehweger, would you please give the Resource Facilities and Affordability Committee report?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The committee received the fiscal year 20 and multi-year university budget updates, as well as the capital improvement plan update. Additionally, we received an advancement update, investment advisor update, and the treasury and debt update. Finally, the committee had the financial update and updates on facility and planning projects. We have a few items to move to the consent agenda, and I would like to just briefly describe those. The first is a resolution for undergraduate scholarship match program extension. This resolution extends the matching program to accommodate donor commitments made on or before June 30th, 2020. There's a resolution for several capital projects, one at Gammertsfelder for the bath and HVAC updates, one at Clippinger for renovation strategy phase 2, one at Grosvenor for administrative relocation renovation, and then there's the Richland Avenue pedestrian crossing sidewalk realignment, which is mainly paid by the DOT and the city, and then the Brown House and Edge Hill maintenance demolition. The third resolution for the consent agenda is for surplus land where the Athens Public Library is. It declares that property, which we own as a university, at 30 Home Street, consisting of two separate parcels of to be surplus property. The real estate in question is to be for the use and operation of a public library, and in the event that the primary use is no longer for a library, the land will revert back to the university. The next one is for the AEP easement in order to reroute an existing overhead line along Moore Avenue that must be removed due to the construction of the new West Campus HCOM building. And the last one is for the Athens bike path easement. This resolution approves the renewal of an easement under the jurisdiction of Ohio University, which forms part of the bicycle path between Nelsonville and Athens. So the committee would like to move those to the consent agenda of the board.
So recommend, so taken.
Then we have resolutions of our own. The first one is the fiscal year 20 university operating budget. This resolution approves the fiscal year 1920 budgets of the expected revenues and expenses as presented yesterday and posted on the board's website. And I motion to approve the university operating budget resolution.
Thank you very much. Is there a second to that resolution?
Second.
Trustee Goodman, second. Any further conversation, discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. And the next one is for fee approvals. It approves the fee schedule for graduate off-campus programs on tab 27 of the June 2019 board agenda. I motion to approve the graduate off-campus programs, e-campus, and reduced non-resident fee resolution.
Thank you, Trustee Viehweger. Is there a second? Second. Trustee Shield. Any discussion? Hearing none, All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? Passes unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you. And the next one is for fiscal year 20 annual CIP, the capital project list, fiscal year 21-22 state capital plan, fiscal year 21 to 26 6-year CIP. This resolution approves the attached FY 21 through 26 6-year capital improvement plan, the fiscal year 20 annual capital plan, and the fiscal year 21-22 state capital project requests as described in tab 29 of our board agenda for this meeting. I motion to approve the CIP and state capital plan resolution.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from trustee Evans. Discussion? I'd like to make one comment, and that is, I think that this is one of those steps that is very prudent to do. I think that it's a function of awfully good planning that's represented in our comprehensive master planning that's been done in the past and is updated every year. And I think that this is an exceptionally good adaptation without compromising the academic core of this university as we go forward. So that's my comment. All in favor of this resolution?
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you. The motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. And lastly, the committee introduced the following resolutions that were not in the agenda. This is why the meeting went till 6 or 6:30, I think. Well, the first one is an undergraduate e-campus career fee. This resolution approves the establishment of a $3 per credit hour undergraduate e-campus career fee. And we heard about how this really is a value to the e-learning students. Mr. Secretary, would you please read the resolution?
Whereas the appropriate planning and consultation with the university have been completed, resulting in the recommendation to establish a career fee for Ohio University's undergraduate e-campus students. And whereas the undergraduate e-campus career fee must be authorized and consistent with the legislation enacted by the General Assembly, and whereas the establishment of Ohio University's undergraduate e-campus career fee must be reviewed and approved by the Chancellor of the Ohio Department of Higher Education, now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Trustees approves the establishment of $3 per credit hour undergraduate e-campus career fee consistent with the attached table. Exhibit A is in the tab of the resolution that is distributed in your OneDrive folder.
Thank you. Thank you. I would like to motion to approve the undergraduate e-campus career fee.
Thank you. Do I have a second? Trustee Kashani. Any further conversation, discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes unanimously. Okay.
And the last resolution from this committee is for the use of the Century Bond. This resolution approves the use of the annual Century Bond allocations for and its operating investment in deferred and preventative projects. Mr. Secretary, would you please read this resolution?
Whereas the university issued $250 million in 100-year maturity taxable bonds, the Century Bonds, in order to establish a central bank funding model for deferred maintenance and other projects, and whereas the Century Bond guiding principle set aside $160 million of the $250 million to address deferred maintenance in 16 annual $10 million deferred maintenance tranches, and whereas university management has presented the expected fiscal year 20 use of Century Bond funding inclusive of the fiscal year 20 $10 million tranches, and whereas a portion of the fiscal year 20 and future annual tranches will be used to fund the projects identified in the fiscal year 20 annual capital plan and the fiscal year 21 through fiscal year 26 6-year CIP, and whereas the funding strategy has been reviewed and approved by the Treasury and Debt Advisory Committee. Now therefore be it resolved that Ohio University's Board of Trustees approves the use of fiscal year 20 use of Century Bond funding as presented. Be it further resolved that the Ohio University Board of Trustees approves the use of the annual Century Bond allocations to fund its operating investment in deferred and preventative maintenance projects.
Yeah. I motion to approve this.
Well, what a great response. Do I have
Page 3, yeah.
Do I have a second? I understand it's a motion to the, yeah. Do I have a second? Second, trustee Kashani. Any conversation, discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? The motion passes unanimously.
So there are no further resolutions and no remaining consent agenda.
There's one more that might have slipped in, the line of credit.
Oh, yeah, it's not on my list anymore.
Yeah,
Do you have that, Dave?
The line of credit extension authorizes amendments to the 50 million, the Ohio University General Receipts Obligations line of credit as described in tab 34 of June 2019 Board of
Yeah, I do have it, sorry.
we had a good conversation on the basis for that and
Right, no,
yesterday in
I
committee.
missed it.
Motion?
A motion to approve it.
Trustee Viehweger, a second.
Second.
Trustee Cooper, any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes unanimously.
I'd like to just make a further comment on my personal appreciation for the way we have evolved the slides that we look at when we look at all the numbers, with particular thanks to Deb, because I think it makes it much easier for our discussion when we look at these overview slides and bar charts as opposed to the big tables. We have those to study when we want to. But for our discussion, I think it was a particularly good discussion yesterday on all these critical budget numbers because of the way you were able to provide us the information. So I thank you. And that's my report, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Trustee Viehweger. We'll move on now to audit. Trustee Spellman, would you please give the Audit and Risk Management Committee report?
Yes, thank you, Chair Scholl. The Audit and Risk Management Committee received the Chief Audit Executive's report from Jeff Davis. We also received fiscal year 19 audit update from Plant Moran, our external auditors. The committee considered a resolution approving the audit plan and recommends it for approval. I motion that the audit plan resolution be approved.
Second.
Trustee Viehweger. There's a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? Passes unanimously.
Great, thank you. There are no consent agenda items and no further resolutions from the Audit and Risk Management Committee. Detailed minutes of the committee's discussion will be made available on the Board of Trustees website.
I thought sure we'd see in the report that we got done early.
Should have added that.
Thank you, Trustee Small. Trustee Cooper. Well, I've got Trustee Cooper, but it's Trustee Goodman because this is today's meeting. Trustee Goodman, would you please give the Governance and Compensation Committee report?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We had two resolutions before the board. Both were recommended for approval by the committee. The first was to elect Deborah Schaefer as treasurer of the Board of Trustees for the year beginning July 1, 2019 and ending June 30th, 2020. I will move for approval of the motion.
Thank you. Is there a second? Second. Trustee Shield. Any conversation, discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstention? Thank you. The motion passes unanimously.
The second resolution that we recommended favorably for approval by this board was to elect Dr. David R. Moore as Secretary of the Board for Trustees for a term beginning July 1, 2019 and ending June 2020, and I move the resolution.
Thank you, Trustee Goodman. Is there a second?
Second.
Trustee Cooper. Any comments? We all shared plenty of comments and embarrassed Dave earlier, so we won't do it again. But anyhow, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstention? The motion passes unanimously.
There was no further business that came before the committee, and we have no consent agenda items, and that concludes my report.
Wonderful. Thank you, Trustee Goodman. And before I give the Executive Committee report, and on the theme that Trustee Viehweger shared, in the context of better reporting and easier, more understandable financials, I really would like to kind of round back the same comment to the One Ohio presentation that we saw yesterday in a couple of regards. One was, I think that it was kind of in a really easy to digest snapshot as One Ohio takes hold. And I wanted to commend Brad Cohen and Nicole Pennington for helping bring that forward to us, and all of the massive number of people that helped make that report what it was. But I also wanted to share something I learned last night being on a regional campus, and that was Dean Klein shared with me, for the past dozen years, Ohio University regional deans have planned and led a national conference of regional branch campus administrators. This past year, more than 60 branch campus leaders from 17 states representing approximately 35 institutions met to discuss the changing landscape of higher education, proven approaches to branch campus leadership, dual enrollment practices, recruitment and retention, and facilitating student transitions. To me, that's an amazing group of folks, A, and B, I learned that Dean Jim Smith has been heading that up for a number of years. He is kind of the, maybe I'm going a bit too far, not knowing the details, but the grand poobah of this group. And Nicole Pennington had been responsible for kind of the program director element of it for some time. So, I mean, it doesn't surprise me, I guess, once we hear about that and then see the presentation and the momentum that's being built around One Ohio, that it's coming from a really highly informed group of people that are, what I would argue, are national leaders in regional higher education, number one. And number two is, I think, Brett Cohen, as I understand it, visited that group last meeting to kind of get best practices from other university systems that are trying to go through some of the same transitions. And so I just think that's important. It's such an important initiative. It's being done so well at the start. It's got a lot of work to do, but I just wanted to shout out to those folks that have led the cause and been doing it for a number of years. Thank you so much. Okay, Executive Committee report. The board went into executive session to discuss threatened or pending litigation, the purchase or sale of property, the evaluation and compensation of a public employee, and to discuss an information security issue. Yesterday morning, the Executive Committee met and discussed President Nellis's annual evaluation. As part of that effort, the committee has generated a resolution for consideration.
Do you want to hand it out?
Oh, it's in the folder. Okay. Keep a copy. I'll send some this way. Okay. I think there's enough here for everyone, but I may not have grabbed enough. Here's another one. There's more coming.
I think we're good, right?
Let me have this one.
No, we need one,
We need one more?
Yeah.
Two more? One more? One more. Two more. Yeah. I'll share. Okay. Everyone okay? Good. Okay. So what I will do is read the resolution. It's a little bit longer than most, but I think it's important to read, and I'll do it swiftly. So the compensation of the president, resolution 2019, and there'll be a number. Whereas in accordance with the board policy for annual and comprehensive presidential performance reviews, this board has conducted an evaluation of the performance of President M. Dwayne Nellis during fiscal year 2018-2019. And whereas the board has determined that President Nellis has continued to lead the university with high distinction by displaying presidential core values of constructive engagement and dialogue, integrity, civility, inclusivity, and diversity. And whereas the board recognizes that President Nellis has enhanced the legacy of the institution through his effective outreach and visible stewardship, passion for Ohio, and by strongly asserting the transformational value of public higher education on our campuses and throughout the region, state, and beyond. And whereas through his hard work and exemplary leadership, he has elevated specified key initiatives and made strong and meaningful progress during fiscal year 18-19 towards the goals and objectives represented by a series of well-articulated strategic presidential pathways and priorities. And whereas President Nellis has effectively focused system-wide attention on these presidential pathways and priorities and activities and has contributed in key strategic ways toward advancing major institutional themes that promise to define Ohio among public universities of great distinction in the 21st century. And whereas the president has successfully completed the recruitment and onboarding of critical new members of his leadership team, positioning the university to build a new culture that advances and executes Ohio's strategic plan to 2025, One Ohio, by producing structurally balanced and financially sustainable operations and infrastructure system-wide, fully integrating the regional campuses into the One Ohio system, stabilizing enrollments and growing opportunities through lifelong learning, improving academic quality, student success, and national prominence, recruiting top faculty to Ohio, incorporating innovative and entrepreneurial approaches into teaching, e-learning, interdisciplinary, and creative research and outreach, building highly engaged partnerships with alumni, corporations, and communities domestically and globally to produce mutually beneficial and durable relationships and outcomes, enhancing marketing and communications infrastructure that enhances global institutional brand awareness. And whereas the board wishes to recognize the president's strong accomplishments during the previous fiscal year and provide an increased bonus potential going forward associated with leading the successful development, launch, and implementation of the enterprise-wide strategic plan. Now therefore be it resolved that the board approves an increase for fiscal year 2019-20 in the amount of $7,232, 1.5% of the president's fiscal year 2018-19 base composition, and an increase of $533, 1.5% for Mrs. Ruthie Nellis, effective July 1, 2019. Be it further resolved that the board approves a bonus of $72,319, or 15%, computed on the president's base compensation for fiscal year 2018-19. Be it further resolved that the board directs the general counsel to prepare an amendment to the June 12, 2017 presidential employment agreement, making President Nellis eligible for a performance bonus up to 20% of his base salary to be initiated with the presidential performance review next year of the 2019-2020 academic year. And the board further authorizes the board chair to execute such amendment to the presidential employment agreement with President Nellis. Thank you for indulging me be able to read that entire resolution. I would like to motion that this resolution be forwarded. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Trustee Cooper. Any comments or discussion? Comments? Comments?
Just a comment. And he's done all of it, that long list of things, with a touch of class and respect for the rights of all the stakeholders who've been involved. So he's accomplished a lot in the right way.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Trustee Shield.
I just said it again yesterday, but thank you for all your hard work, and we really appreciate working with you. And you've recruited such a great leadership team and really earned the respect of the students, the faculty, the board, and we really love working with you.
Trustee McLean.
Yeah, we've talked about it just in terms of how what we see on campus is that there's a genuine respect from the student body for you. And I think it's because you state what you believe and it's genuine and you take the steps necessary to make those same things happen. I think students notice that and really do appreciate your leadership.
Yeah, thank you, Austin. I really appreciate that.
Wonderful. Okay, thank you so much. So we've got a motion, a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? The motion passes unanimously. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, I'd like to just thank the board for their tremendous support. I just feel very blessed to have such a great board of trustees, and this is a really dynamic time of change in higher education and at Ohio University. But I want to also say that how much this is really a team effort by everyone in this room. We work very well together. I have a great group of vice presidents. My chief of staff, Jennifer Kirksey, outstanding. Our deans, the staff, the faculty, we have a special community. And so the things that we accomplish are not me, but all of us working collectively. And for that, I thank all of you and for your tremendous support. So it's been a positive year. We've accomplished a lot together, but we still have a lot of work to do as we move to the future. And I look forward to working with you in that context to move Ohio University to higher levels of greatness. So thank you for that.
Thank you, President Ellis. Trustee Goodman.
When I was reading the numbers in your resolution with respect to Mrs. Nellis, and I was thinking about the $500, notwithstanding there's a base, but I can assure Mrs. Nellis that the Board of Trustees understands what she brings to the partnership with her husband and to the university exceeds $500 significantly.
And Trustee Goodman, thank you for mentioning Ruthie. Again, as you all know, how important she is to me and in my life. And actually today is our wedding anniversary. So, but Ruthie is there with me, and I feel very blessed and fortunate to have her as my wife and partner in life. And thank you for mentioning that again, Trustee Goodman.
Yeah, President Ellison, I think that if you look in the dictionary and you look at the definition of teamwork, there's two photos there, yours and Ruthie. And thank you very much for all you do for this university.
Thank you.
It's very powerful.
Thank you.
All right, so let's move to the consent agenda. We have an intact, I believe, to confirm, set of consent resolutions. Secretary Moore, would you read the item names on the consent agenda, please?
If I might, I'm going to follow Trustee Cooper's lead and just name the numbers of the tabs for expediency.
Thank you.
Tab 3 and 4, tabs 7 through 9, tabs 12 through 24, and tabs 35 through 38. All of these items are in the June 2019 agenda board materials.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve the resolution?
So moved.
So moved by Trustee Cooper and seconded by Trustee Kashani. So there's a second. Any discussion, comments? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Any abstentions? The consent agenda passes. Is there any unfinished business?
There's not.
Is there any new business?
There's not.
There's none, okay. So we reach a point where there's a session for communications, petitions, and memorials, and today we have two petitions, I guess, communications to offer. Take a moment to recognize our General Counsel, John Biancamano, for his service. John, would you please, this will be unusual. Come back here. Don't go to one of the chairs. Please come back. We've got a resolution we'd like to read. And Dave will present, and then you've got it, okay? Okay.
General Counsel John Biancamano, for serving dutifully as counselor to 2 Ohio University presidents and multiple senior administrative officials for more than 11 years, an uncommon span of continuity, stability, and commitment of service in such a key position of higher education, for your collaborative and aligned services to the Office of Ohio Attorney General over 2 governing administrations, for your professional diligence and skill in overseeing and managing the growth of Ohio University's legal office into a staff of 12 to handle the ever-growing complexity of legal matters related to the institutions during your tenure, for your distinguished service to the Ohio University Board of Trustees, espousing at the highest level the core institutional values of character, community, citizenship, stability, and commitment, for your exceptional leadership in managing institutional risk and opportunity, and your professional advice and sound judgment in service of Ohio University, for your extraordinary support of related entities such as Ohio University's foundation and professional service to multiple campuses across Ohio, for your determined work to improve the lives and future of all Ohio University students, and your continuous support of faculty and staff, for your guidance and counsel to reach Ohio University's 21st in the search for Ohio University's 21st president, for those personal and professional qualities of loyalty, dedication, fairness, and kindness which have earned our deepest regard and respect of our colleagues, students, and alumni across the university community, we thank you and affirm our appreciation.
yours. Okay, well, thank you all very much. I guess now I'm going to tell you what I really want to say.
I speak up so Trustee Goodman.
Careful, Victor.
He's heard enough of me in the last 2 days. No, what I really want to say is thank you to all of you. I've had I've had a lot of good fortune in my career with many people that helped me, and a couple of folks too that I need to mention is, of course, President Rod McDavis, who gave me a chance to come here, and President Nellis, who has been an honor to work for, and most of all, this board. This is a strong board by my experience. Looking at all of the corporate bodies that we see appear in the newspapers, this is a strong board with members who are diligent, have the best interests of the university at heart, and I gotta say, it's been a real easy board to be a lawyer for, because you have never presented a difficult issue that I couldn't answer. And so I know every year we do an annual ethics training, and it's always been a pro forma exercise, because I never really had to train you or give you any information about ethics. This is a quality board. And then finally, I just have to recognize the staff in legal affairs. We do a lot of good work. I think we're the strongest legal office in the university system. Everybody knows their job, works hard, and delivers a lot of quality service to you all. And so it's to thanks to Barb and the rest of the team that our office is so highly regarded. So anyway, thank you very much.
Dave, may I just say,
You absolutely may.
I go back with Mr. Biancamano to when he was an assistant attorney general with Tony Celebrezze. He made a mistake and wandered up to North High Street, where he was only one of 2 members of the then general counsel staff at Ohio State University, which is sort of incredible now, because they have built an empire within the general counsel's office that is larger than most Wall Street law firms. And obviously I have worked with him here. Even when we have some professional disagreements, in the sense that we may look at things a little differently, John has always been very thorough, willing to take the time to get things answered for the trustees. We will miss John. We've tried to keep him here, but he is restless and wants to get out from under our jurisdiction. But we wish him the best, and hopefully he will continue to be in good health and enjoy his retirement.
Thank you, Trustee Goodman. This second presentation is equally bittersweet. This is, I'm going to ask David Pidwell to join. And before we begin the resolution, I want to share with you, David, a conversation I had with our newest national trustee, Mr. Gaynor, that generally what happens is we have an overlap of a year. As one trustee comes on, there's still one that's nicely entrenched. And John, you're coming on where you're going to be flying a bit solo. But I think that we will work, and David, I'm sure, would also offer you his guidance post facto, so to speak, to make your time on the board as solid as possible. But I would love to have this resolution to David Pidwell read. Mr. Moore.
National Trustee David W. Pidwell, for your distinguished service as member of the Ohio University Board of Trustees, for your valuable expertise in corporate governance and shaping the future of Ohio University by thoughtful, strategic planning and implementation rooted in critical priority setting and sound business principles, for your guidance and sound judgment in the search for Ohio University's 21st president, for your forward-thinking, innovative, and exemplary work and extraordinary engagement for nearly 15 years covering 2 administrations, for your full participation and perseverance in the strategic development and implementation of an entrepreneurial ecosystem that has garnered national recognition and impacted the local and regional economy in meaningful ways. For your tangible effort to transform not only those that participate within Ohio's entrepreneurial ecosystem, but the participation of Ohioans more broadly in newly developed industries. For your leadership and full involvement in the creation of Ohio Innovation Fund. For your tireless support of Ohio University's vision of becoming the nation's best transformative learning community. For championing the core values of entrepreneurship and associated university programs and services that foster the creation of new industries and learning and professional opportunity for Ohio faculty, students, staff, and staff in the process. For your special leadership in promoting entrepreneurial education. For your founding role in establishing the CoLab on the Athens campus, and for personally mentoring a vast number of students as a result. For those personal and professional qualities of loyalty, dedication, collaboration, fairness, and kindness, which have earned the deepest regard and respect of colleagues, students, and alumni across the university community, we thank you and affirm our appreciation.
Thank you.
Wow. First of all, I just must say thank you for this resolution and for the kind words, Dave, that you just read. It has been an honor. It's been a personal joy participating with each of you on this Board of Trustees under the leadership of President Nellis, and this past year under the leadership of Chairman Scholl. I am departing from my role as a trustee today, but I'm not leaving Ohio University. I have some unfinished business, if you will, back in Athens, projects that I'm involved with that will require that I return to the university on a regular basis. So I'll be back, I don't know if it's monthly, but I will be back routinely to work on these and bring closure to that work, and I look forward to doing it. And I want to wish this board success in addressing the issues that are on your plate today regarding basically taking this university to the 21st century level of a higher institution of higher learning. So thank you and Godspeed.
Fortunately, he did an impression of Arnold there with "I'll be back." We're grateful for that, David. Thank you. Mr. President, any additional communications?
I have none.
Secretary Moore, could you announce the date and location of our next meeting?
The trustees will have a board meeting on Monday, August 19th, and a retreat on August 20th, both on the Beaver Creek, Ohio facility.
Thank you. I think that's a really important milestone for this board. We've chatted about using Beaver Creek as a site for one of our board meetings, and it's finally going to happen. And so we're real excited about learning what's going on there. Feel it, taste it, so to speak. And so anyhow, that'll be the 19th and 20th, and I look forward to everyone being there if you can make it. Thank you for coming.